Scar's journey began, as so many do in the zone, with tragedy. A mercenary by trade, Scar was never one to tie himself to causes or ideals. He lived for the paycheck, for the thrill of survival. But his life changed forever in the Great Swamps, escorting a group of ecologists through one of the most treacherous regions in the zone. They were deep in the marshlands when it happened, the second Great Emission, a blast of pure energy tearing through the zone. The skies turned to fire, the ground trembled, and Scar found himself on the edge of death. The ecologists he had sworn to protect were obliterated in an instant, their bodies consumed by the unnatural storm. Scar alone survived, though barely, his unconscious body discovered by a clear sky patrol. When Scar awoke at their hidden base, he learned the truth. No one survived emissions like that. The zone had marked him. The energy that should have killed him had instead left its mark, altering his reflexes, enhancing his strength, but slowly it was killing him. Every step forward would bring him closer to his demise, unless he could find a way to stop it. Clear Sky's leader, Lebedev, offered him a deal. S.T.A.L.K.E.R, a stalker attempting to reach the center of the zone, was the reason for these catastrophic emissions. If Scar wanted to live, he would have to track S.T.A.L.K.E.R down and stop him. Reluctantly, Scar agreed. What choice did he really have? If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel, as we've slowly chipped up to 3% subscribing watch time. I'm super close to my goal of hitting 500 by the end of the year, and it would mean a lot if I could hit it. Scar's hunt for S.T.A.L.K.E.R began in the swamps, where Clear Sky's grip was tenuous at best. The region was overrun by renegades, violent stalkers who threatened the faction's survival. Scar's first task was to help Clear Sky reclaim their territory. He fought through the swamps with surgical precision, neutralizing the renegades and securing safe passage for Clear Sky to expand their reach. In the process, Scar became a weapon for the faction, a tool that they wielded against the chaos of the zone. But the mission was never about loyalty, it was survival. And Scar's survival meant pursuing S.T.A.L.K.E.R, no matter the cost. The hunt led him to the cordon, the edge of the zone's twisted world. Here, Scar sought out Sidorovich, a trader who dealt in information as much as supplies. To gain Sidorovich's help, Scar had to mediate a growing conflict between the loners and the bandits. The zone was a place of constant tension, and its people often turned on each other for scraps of resources. Scar resolved the situation in the only way he knew, with action. Through Sidorovich, Scar uncovered S.T.A.L.K.E.'s trail. The rogue stalker had passed through the garbage while he was heading deeper into the zone. Scar followed, each step bringing him closer to his quarry, but also deeper into the zone's deadly embrace. In garbage, Scar encountered Freedom, a faction that valued liberty in the zone above all else. They had their reasons for aiding him, as S.T.A.L.K.E.'s actions threatened even their precious hold on the zone. Scar took on their challenges, clearing out mercenary forces in exchange for vital information. From Freedom, he learned that S.T.A.L.K.E.'s group had descended into the Agroprom underground, a place of darkness and terror. Scar entered the underground, navigating its pitch-black corridors and avoiding the ever-present danger of mutants and anomalies. The zone was alive down there, its energy pulsing within the walls, its dangers multiplying in the dark. But Scar was unrelenting. His reflexes, sharpened by the very emissions that threatened his life, made him a ghost in the shadows, unstoppable and unyielding. He emerged into the light, his trail leading him further to Yontar, a region dominated by the Brain Scorcher, a psychic field capable of twisting minds into madness. Here, Scar met Sakharov, a scientist who studied the zone's strange phenomena. Sakharov marveled at Scar's survival, calling him an anomaly within his own right. From Sakharov, Scar learned that S.T.A.L.K.E.R was heading towards the Red Forest, one of the most dangerous places within the zone. The Red Forest was a nightmare come to life. Its trees glowed with unnatural energy, its air thick with the hum of anomalies. Every step was a gamble, every moment a fight for survival. Here, Scar encountered Lishi, a seasoned stalker who offered him guidance and warned him of the dangers ahead. The Red Force tested Scar like nothing before, but he pushed through, his determination unwavering. The trail led him to Limansk, a war-torn city caught in endless conflict. Limansk was indeed a battleground, where factions fought tooth and nail for control, each vying for dominance over its strategic location. Scar's journey through the city was a gauntlet of chaos. Explosions lit up the night sky, and gunfire echoed through crumbling streets. Clear Sky was going to make its final push here, determined to stop S.T.A.L.K.E.R at any cost. Scar led this charge, carving a path through the ruins and cutting down anyone who stood in his way. Limansk was no place for hesitation, and Scar's every move was calculated, every shot deliberate. He guided the Clear Sky forces through the hospital, which was the last barrier between them and the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Finally, Scar arrived at the heart of the zone, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. The air here was thick with radiation and the weight of humanity's past mistakes. The zone's energy was strongest here, its power almost palpable. S.T.A.L.K.E.R was within reach, but so was the truth. The zone was not just a place. It was alive, and anomalies and emissions are part of a larger, incomprehensible force. As Scar confronted S.T.A.L.K.E.R, the third emission erupted, a cataclysm that reshaped the zone yet again. The blast tore through the landscape, annihilating everything within its path. Clear Sky's forces were decimated, and their mission was reduced to ash in the face of the zone's wrath. Scar, standing at the epicenter of it all, was consumed by the storm. For years, Scar's fate was unknown. Some said that he had died in the emission, his body and mind destroyed by the zone. Others whispered that the zone had claimed him, turning him into one of the monolith's brainwashed soldiers. But the zone never forgets its own. Years later, rumors began to spread. A new faction had risen within the zone, S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Its members spoke of the zone's dual nature, of its light and of its darkness. They sought to uncover its secrets and to reveal the shining truth. At the head of this enigmatic faction was a man with a piercing gray-white eye stare, a scar across his face, and a past that the zone itself seemed to protect. Scar was alive. Scar's transformation was complete. He was no longer just a mercenary, a man chasing paychecks and survival. The zone had shaped him, broken him, and rebuilt him. As the leader of S.T.A.L.K.E.R, he embraced a new purpose: to understand the zone, to uncover its mysteries, and to prepare for the anomalies and dangers spreading beyond its borders. The zone was growing. Its anomalies were no longer confined, and its influence began creeping into the world beyond. Scar believed the zone held the answers that could either save humanity or doom it. As the leader of S.T.A.L.K.E.R, Scar was no longer a lone wanderer. His faction followed his vision, driven by his belief in the zone's shining side, a side that most stalkers could never comprehend. Yet, the dark side of the zone loomed as well, and with it came new enemies: the Ward, a shadowy organization intent on controlling the zone, and S.T.A.L.K.E.R, a force seeking to exploit its power to their own ends. The battles that Scar now fought were not just for himself. They were for the very soul of the zone. He understood its danger, but also its potential. He saw it not just as a place of destruction, but as something more, a force that could reshape reality itself. Scar's story is not one of victory or defeat. It is a story of survival, transformation, and purpose. He began as a silent mercenary, a man with no cause and no future. But the zone changed him, as it changes everyone who dares to walk its paths. It scarred him, his body, and his soul. Now, Scar stands at the edge of the zone, not as its victim, but as a voice within it. His journey is far from over, and the zone's mysteries still call to him. For Scar, there is no escape. There is only the zone, and the zone is eternal. Hey everyone, once again, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been incredibly enjoyable to continue to put out content that is being so well received by the community. As always, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. And drop a comment or a like to make sure that the algorithm helps push this video out to other people who are interested in this type of content. I also have a Discord that's live now. I'm trying to build it into a place that you can discuss lore of S.T.A.L.K.E.R as well as other series, and you can also interact with me personally and suggest content or topics that you would like to see covered in future videos. Thank you all again and take care.